Welcome back. Growing tensions with China, from TikTok privacy concerns to the Chinese spy balloon. Despite this, though, U.S.-China trade hit a record in 2022. Can the U.S. end its economic dependence on communist China? Joining me now to talk more about that is former U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer. And it's great to see you, Bob. Thanks very much for being here this weekend.
Maria, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
I want to ask, first off, right there, the decoupling question. I mean, you've talked a lot about this reliance that the United States has on China. I'm talking about supply chains. We are reliant on communist China for things like prescription drugs and technology. Can we decouple, and should we be decoupling from China?
So, Maria, I call for something called strategic decoupling. I'm not saying don't do business with China, but I'm saying do smart business and do balanced business. So let's take a step back. The first, any one of your listeners has to say to themselves, is China a friend, neutral, or are they a foe? I think if you study the evidence in the last 4 or 5 years, it would be very difficult to conclude they are anything but an unfriendly force, and a massive one that could literally have a bigger economy than we do. They want to be number one in the world. They want their system to prevail in the world, and the United States is in the way of that. So we need a policy of strategic decoupling. So to me, what that means is, one, you put in place tariffs and you adjust them so that you get to balanced trade, period. 2, you don't have any trade in the technology area. No technology interdependence, period, full stop. 3, you have to be very careful in monitoring all their investment into the United States, which is generally in order to get our data or our technology. And 2, you have to be very careful and regulate all U.S. investment going to China, because that generally is in their interest. So to me, we need, and I think you do it over time. You do it smart. You still sell your ag products. You still buy the things that make sense economically, and you have a balanced relationship, unrelated to technology. And I think we have to cross the bridge and do that. And anyone who doesn't understand it, I think, is failing in their job as an American official.
I want to get your take on this most favored nation status when it comes to trade. Why does China have most favored nation status when, in fact, they're doing all of these things that are exposing them as hostile? A surveillance balloon, theft of intellectual property, decade after decade, not to mention COVID-19 and a cover-up. A million Americans are dead. Can we change most favored nation status, and should we be changing it?
So absolutely. So let's take another step back, if I can. What is most favored nation? So there are 2 lists of tariffs, list by product, a high list, and then what we call the most favored nation list, which is actually quite low. For years in the United States, for a variety of reasons, the Congress every year could take away from China the low tariffs, the most favored nation tariffs, and impose on them the higher tariffs. So there was a review process. China had the benefit of the lower tariffs, but it had no certainty that it would be able to keep them. In the year 2000, we had a vote in the United States. It was led by then President Clinton, and in fairness, a lot of Republicans. And their view was that, let's have more trade with China. Let's give certainty to the relationship. Let's have low tariffs with them, because then they'll become a democracy. They'll become like Switzerland. Well, that was one of the worst calculations, worst decisions made in the last 100 years in terms of the geopolitical position of the United States.
Yeah, they went the other way. They went the other way. They went more inward.
They absolutely, but it was totally predictable. And by the way, in 1997, I wrote a New York Times article which predicted what way they were going to go. So for sure, we ought to repeal what is called permanent normal trade relations. We think of it as MFN. For sure, we ought to repeal it. But I think in addition, we ought to put tariffs on China in order to get the trade deficit to zero. We cannot have an adversary and one who is increasingly hostile and threatening to us and have a gigantic trade deficit with them. I mean, it's fair to say, as President Trump used to say, that we have rebuilt China. We have transferred, let me just give you this number, about $6 trillion in trade surpluses to them in the last 20 years. $6 trillion.
Wow.
It is shocking, and I say people might have misunderstood 10 years ago. They might have been influenced by businesses and the like 10 years ago. No rational person can now look at the situation and not see what's coming.
Wow, that is incredible in terms of the amount of money and leeway that the CCP has been able to get. Then you've got all these Wall Streeters basically funding the expansion of the CCP by investing in companies that may be tied to the military, which at some point might turn their guns on America.
Look at Marie. It's important to know that there are state-owned enterprises, as you say, but there are no truly private enterprises at all. You look at these, the government has cells in almost all of their industry, the state-owned as well as the so-called private. When one of these private businessmen gets out of line, they disappear. They come back with a different attitude. Even U.S. companies that are operating over there are monitor themselves very carefully not to do anything inconsistent with what they're told to by the CCP.
That's right. Wow, that is a scary situation. I wish Western companies would understand that these are national security issues. It's not just all economic. Robert Lighthizer, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. I so appreciate your time this weekend.
Thank you very much for having me.